Hey guys, before I start this video, I just want to point out that I have this little heart monitor right now. So if you're like, what's going on right here? I have mitral valve prolapse, and my cardiologist wanted me to wear this for 5 freaking days just to kind of get an update on everything that's going on, because I actually think that I'm good. I feel like I don't have it anymore. So we're just going to run some tests and see where I'm at. And hey, maybe I can throw those stupid pills that I take away, that I take, and just toss them. Maybe I won't even need them anymore. But I digress. That's it. Let's go.
Supreme victory!
Hey, what's going on, everyone? How you doing? I hope you're doing well. There's a lot of weird stuff going on with SLIPKNOT right now, and I'm sure anyone who's been paying attention just a little bit is just as confused and just as weirded out. So, you had some news happening with Sean Cran, right, Clown, that he's not going to be able to do some touring for a minute because he's got to take care of some family business. Everybody understood that, and then just right after, all of a sudden, SLIPKNOT drops a little bit of news on the Instagram that Craig Jones, their sampler, he's no longer in the band. He parted ways, and it's like, whoa, this is weird. And then, an hour after they post that, they just removed the post. And so people were like, whoa, did they jump the gun? What was this about? And then they post a picture of another member. Mask looks pretty cool, but people are like, can we have some explanation, please? And then before we even get any explanation or anything at all, we don't really have time to soak that in, because all of a sudden, SLIPKNOT just drops an EP. But it's not really an EP, though. I thought it was. I was like, oh, maybe this is going to be a play on Adderall, their first track from the End So Far. So maybe it's just going to be like something really fleshed out. It was going to be like a story, like a concept EP or something. I thought it was going to be pretty cool. And no, it just kind of seems like something, it just seems like bonus stuff. It seems like something, let's put it this way. Back in the day, if I would have bought this, I would have been pissed off. I would have been angry that this wasn't a separate disc or something that was an addition to the End So Far. Some B-side type stuff. Because I'm like, this is just demos, instrumentals, things like that, and I'm like, I would never call this an EP. I was completely caught off guard. I was expecting to hear something different. I didn't know that it was going to be what it turned out to be. And so I'm just like, what's happening? Who's making these decisions? Why is this happening? Why are they putting this EP out and completely distracting from Craig Jones leaving the band? Because it's just like, okay, this is weird. Why? What happened? We need to know. I've talked about this with some other people when we were discussing this news, that Craig always seemed to have the best gig in the band, in my opinion, and some of my friends' opinions. We'd always talk about, if you really wanted to be in SLIPKNOT, imagine just being the sampler, being this dude, hitting a few buttons, making sure things are going nice and smooth, and then just headbanging your ass off. Because that's pretty much what Craig was doing. You're at the shows, you're watching Craig, and he's kind of just doing his thing, you know what I mean? He's not really, I would love to take that position. I would, 100%, they found their replacement, apparently, allegedly, but I would rather be like, hey, get rid of that guy. Let me do it. I want to be a SLIPKNOT. I want to be the sampler, man. Let me do this. I'm sure I can do this. But on a serious note, though, I'm just tripping out, man, with this. Who does stuff like this? And to be honest, there's been a few things that they've done that have been kind of, bizarre in a way that, we saw what happened with Paul back in the day, and the press conference that they had, and just how heart-wrenching it was. Like, everything was kind of crazy. And when Joey passed, there was nothing even remotely like that. And to be honest, I thought that was kind of bizarre. Like, he's been there pretty much since the beginning, right? And so it was one of those things where I was like, now, I know they put the black squares, they blacked out their Instagrams kind of like acknowledgement, and they put out a statement, but it just felt different. It felt weird. It felt like it felt somewhat disrespectful, if I'm just being honest. It didn't feel like they really acknowledged it in the way that I feel like they should have. I don't know, man. Obviously, we all, as fans, we don't know the ins and outs of everything. We saw the back and forth rumors and stuff like that about, they kicked me out. I was sick. I was hurt. Nobody visited me in the hospital except for yada yada. Like, we heard stuff like that. But then, Slipknot saying it was deeper issues. It was alcohol and stuff. And it was kind of like, oh, well, who do you believe? And it's one of those things where I'm like, man. Which it obviously it shouldn't have ended that way, but that's just how it went, and I don't know. Then you have, and like I said, in one of my previous videos, I understood why when it came to the end so far, it was rushed. They wanted to get off the label, but it's still also the vibes felt weird. And then you heard, I think it was Jim talking publicly about how he wished they would have slowed down. And so, like, the vibes have been kind of weird. Now, that could always happen, but then everything is fine when they're performing. I always think about System of a Down, and they just can't come together to make new music, except for when they were doing the charity for Armenia. They put out those 2 new songs, which was awesome, for unfortunate circumstances. But whenever they play shows, they always come together, they're always on point, and they always perform to the standard that they always put themselves to, of being one of the biggest and most successful metal bands ever, essentially. But obviously, behind the scenes, they can't agree on this shit. They can't write new music. They're still butting heads. We saw the statements from Darren and Serge, and it's like, dang. So I kind of feel like that there's like some interesting vibes and stuff going on. I mean, I still don't know exactly what happened with Chris Fane, right? The percussionist that got I guess fired, essentially. We know it's financial issues and things like that from what we've heard a little bit here and there. And apparently Chris has explained some more, but I still feel like something just feels weird about that too. Like it's just been kind of like, I don't know, man. What's going on with Slipknot? Like, to be honest, I wouldn't be surprised if it was like 5 years or something till we hear any type of new music from Slipknot, if at all. Like, what if it turns into one of those situations where it's like System of a Down? Would I be disappointed? But only because the end so far, especially with that title, it's like so far. We know what the title was tied to, but it would be like, oh man, this should not be the swan song, especially when We Are Not Your Kind was such a good album. Like, when I first listened to it, I'm like, this album's pretty solid. And then years afterwards, I'm like, this album is really freaking good, especially contrasting it to the end so far. I was like, this album is really good. Like, I did not appreciate it as much as I should have. And it kind of makes me want to do a Slipknot tier and put their albums in ranking, because I rank that album pretty high. But, damn, that would be a really hard one, though, because I don't hate any of their records. I don't think any of the records are just complete garbage. But, the rush nature of the end so far, it's like, well, okay, I hear it even in the production. I hear that this thing, it definitely could have baked a few more minutes, so to speak. But anyways, guys, let me know what you think about the situation. Did you hear the EP, the Adderall EP? What did you think about the EP? And if you got any theories about what's going on with Slipknot, or, I mean, do you even care about what's going on with Craig Jones? I mean, I know I'm curious as a Slipknot fan, but it's just, I don't know, maybe it's a simple explanation. Like, a lot of those dudes are in their late 40s, early 50s, and maybe they're just like, I'm good. I just want to kind of like not tour and do this stuff anymore, which is totally understandable. Like some people, when I think about music, I'm like, I want to make a lot of music, but then I think about at my age, I'm like, do I want to tour though? Touring sounds crazy to me now, but I don't know, man. It does, like, I'll see what happens if I even get that opportunity to tour. But that's it. I just want to talk about this, and then that's it. And so, guys, please leave your comments. Please like the video, and have a good one. I'll see you very soon.